Relationship is meant to bring you closer to God and not closer to sin. This is today's live on Equa Television International. My name is Joyce Jakada, and we are glad you could join us on this edition of today's live. It's Wednesday. We're talking about relationship. I'm not doing this alone. Sambo Solomon Sabe is right here, the last man standing. Prudence Burger and Jamima Emmanuel, who will be dishing out of experience. You know, the other day when we're talking
about experience, that means the show will just end. Somebody will just close the show.
Oh, you know what? The last time we were talking about relationship, Jamima said something that I was like, It's like this marriage, I'll not go close to. Why are you sweeping and washing now? There's plenty sweeping and washing when you get married. You wash till forever. I say,
forever and a day.
So, you mean that the marriage is all about sweeping? Okay, the topic is before you say yes. Before I say yes. Before the person watching or say yes. What are the factors that you should consider before saying yes? We're talking about relationship, marriage inclusive. Because if you are in a relationship, there's that stage you get to that you either say yes or no. And if you follow the cheer of people, I've seen a lot of times where the moment he just goes down on his knees, everybody shouting, say yes, say yes, say yes. Like they'll be there with you when you are facing all the say yes, say yes. And a lot of people say the yes out of excitement, out of, oh yes, I'm ready to do this with you. And some people are just forced to say yes because of the crowd and all. I know of a lady that actually said yes because it was in a public gathering, but as soon as they returned, she gave the guy back the ring because she never wanted to. Maybe she was enjoying the relationship or the friendship, but she didn't see him as her husband. There are people that will tell you that I'm looking for the mother of my children. And when they get into relationship, the lady start displaying her true nature. Like, this can't be the mother of my children. Yes, I got attracted to her. She's beautiful. She has all the shape and everything. If that was what attracted you. But eventually you're looking at life, spending the rest of your life with this person. You're looking at your children through that person that you're going to end up with. Think about it. So people consider a lot of factors. How of what help? I'm talking about the man now, thinking of the woman. If she's meant to be, or she's supposed to be my helpmeet, will this lady eventually be a helpmeet? So people go into relationship. As they're in the relationship, they're actually thinking. Sometimes you just sit down and you look at the person you're in relationship with. Am I sure I want to bear this person's name? There are times that the person will just display your character. You're like, when should I say yes? So remember, when should I say yes?
That was a direct one. Joyce,
she's a step ahead now. So when should I say yes? Tell me.
Solomon Sambo. Steps ahead.
That one is senior colleague, granddaddy in that ministry. Let me start from the one that is closer. You are my gender. At what point should I say yes?
Insecure,
Don't worry, you're well
You're
covered.
fine. Don't worry, you're covered.
Okay, well, I feel that for you to say yes, you have to be ready. Because you cannot say yes when you are not ready. And then being ready, I'm not talking about age. Like, oh, I am approaching 40, my mates are getting married, my mates have children, and I don't even have someone to marry. No, that's not the readiness I'm talking about. Although that one also counts. But you have to be ready emotionally, you have to be ready mentally, you have to be ready spiritually, you have to be ready physically. So all of this come together to give the package of readiness in saying yes. So you don't just say yes because a lot of people are cheering you up. You don't just say yes because the guy spent so much to bring up the proposal package. No, you say yes because you are ready. Prayerfully, you are ready. Materially, you are ready. Financially, in every way, you are ready for the marriage. Before you become ready, what would you have done to make yourself ready? There's this thing that we always do. If you want to get married, you say, I have a list of of the kind of person I want my future husband to be. So yes, no, you don't even have to tick it complete, but the fact that you have something you're looking out for, you're not just going for anyone, right? We all have something we're looking out for. But when you're writing the list, have you ever sat down to think of writing your own list? Like what you want to be for the future husband, what you want to be for the future wife. I think that also helps in the readiness. As much as you're being ready in all these areas that I mentioned, you should also be ready. You yourself should be ready for the husband. You should be a package.
See how I'm learning free of charge. Give me more. You know, but he said something that caught my attention. The list. I remember there was a time we were talking with some group of friends how that, oh, this one would say, oh, I like guys that are huge. Oh, I like guys that are this. I want him rich. So I cannot come and start suffering. Everybody was giving this. I just asked this question. But wait, if you are to marry you the way you are now,
Will you marry
would you marry you? And then some say, I will need to hustle more. I will need to, no, I don't want, like, so it means, like Jemima said, the long list that, are you that person? If you are to marry you right now, the way you are, would you marry you and see how you want to go and suffer somebody? You want to go and marry somebody with this your bad character? Sambo Solomon, she said that you have to be materially ready. As a lady, I don't understand. Should I be materially ready when the man is supposed to?
Wow.
Should I be materially ready?
I did not see that comment.
Well, it depends. Materially ready, it depends. You know, I can just say contentment. If you ask me, yes, who you are you contented? Because sometimes that's where you get the problem. Even in relationship, you are already telling the man that you are not contented, and he's afraid. Because when you talk about marriage, in relationship, one thing that we neglect is that we don't look at the future in the eye of the partner. We always just think it doesn't really matter. Let me borrow your word. That mushy feeling that always overshadow us. If you said, now back to the list. If you're talking about the list, how are you looking at the partner through that list? It is very important. If you are looking at the partner through that list, then look at it backward. Then talk about yourself. You should be rich. If you mean rich, how do you mean rich? Some people will say rich because I know the guy has a future. That's their definition of being rich. Some will say rich because they want to see those flashy cars, taking them out to all those junk joints and the rest, like spending beyond proportion, if you ask me. And you see, that issue of contentment is one thing that takes people off in preparing for marriage. Yes, because men, sometimes they have a way of withdrawing. If they truly want to withdraw in a good way, and they know that the relationship is building towards something, and they just feel, no, not a relationship that is based on scam. You understand? A relationship that you are building towards something. Because in that relationship, what are you doing? You're observing before you say yes. And the question I ask, before you ask, are you ready? Yes. Because you are asking for someone to say yes. Before you ask, are you ready? Emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, are you ready? Like the ready people would define like differently. I hear people saying, yes, financially I'm not ready, but God will provide.
And you know, some people will say, is this talk about till you get money, till you become rich before you get married? That's made a lot of people unmarried. Some will say, just take the bull step. Like, the blessings will come. Like, God, every child comes with his blessings and all. Prudence, you know you're not part of this show. You know you've told us before that you don't have experience. You're
Before
PK.
you came, she
You
said
what?
that today.
Somebody. So you mean you've not
but
said
no,
said yes before?
Nah.
You've not said yes, but you're considering.
This one you're saying now. Is it I don't want
I
to
don't even
answer yes
understand
or what?
though.
Let's know.
Okay, but
I
you're
think
going
we
to
don't-
say yes.
Hopefully.
Okay,
yes.
you're crushing on somebody. You're waiting for him to ask.
So say this your no with some love.
Wow, I feel attacked. Oh my god.
Tell us
Yes,
that
yes,
experience you had.
Oh, but I've not had any experience yet. But one thing I know, and why one of the reasons why I haven't even accepted anybody yet, is because in my mind I need to picture that I am mentally ready for this person. And I'm also picturing that this person, okay, can I give him the respect and the honor and the position that he should have in my life? Am I ready to give that kind of position? Have I reached that mentally, spiritually? Am I there yet? But because if I'm not there yet, I don't see any point of actually engaging anybody. That's for me. And my mom says something to us always. I think that's one of the reasons. Growing up in a PK as a PK is stressful sometimes. But
Wow.
but we bless God because that's why we are where we are.
Someone slow mo we are watching the PKs.
Yes.
Please tell us more.
She always says that you have to be sure that you can picture this person as your husband and that you can appreciate and support decisions that this person will make. But you see, from the beginning, if I don't worry, I'm not supporting the decisions you're making from the start. Okay, yes, I might have my own reservations, but the fact that I can trust you enough to make certain decisions by your own self, it's one step towards the whole relationship marriage thing. But if I can't do that, what's the point? You see, I can't just jump into a relationship aimlessly. I have to have a reason why I'm in a relationship. I will have to have a reason why I say, yes, let us see where this thing takes us, or yes, let us get married. I have to see a reason ahead. You find that people meet, and some people take 2 years, 3 years, 10 years before the whole "would you marry me" thing, and then the whole "yes, let's get married" thing. But for some people, in the span of a year, you find that they've met and they're getting married. So it's the end of the year. What makes it like that is because those people who spend the span of 10 years have probably not seen it yet, and they're not yet convinced that let's go ahead and take the next step. But for these people who just met in a year, within that year, they had already seen, okay, yes, I think I'm fit and ready for this person to be my spouse. But a lot of times, these things are influenced by other things, like family. Is my family pressuring me or not? You see why I'm comfortable and doing whatever I want to do before I get married, because there's no pressure from family. But
What do you
but, but you find it will come. Okay,
keep eating their
But-
food?
but
Enjoy it.
Enjoy it while it lasts.
thank you. I'm taking that into book. But what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times people let pressure actually influence their decisions. So this girl will probably be saying, let's get married, not because she's ready or fit to get married, not because she has pictured this man as her husband, no, or not because he has pictured this lady as his wife, but because his mom keeps saying, when would you bring me my grandchildren? Someone actually jokingly said, if his mother starts pressuring him, bring me my grandchildren, he'll go and give somebody you go and impregnate somebody
Mm.
and come back and bring the grandchild for and say this is your grandchild.
Mm.
That's a funny scenario,
Mm.
but that's because he does not want to end up having the wrong relationship. That's
Mm.
why he would say something like that. And a lot of times there's family pressure and all that, so they're influencing societal pressure. You're of age, when are you getting married? I was saying this earlier on, like when I went for a wedding in January, someone was like, oh, so we've come for her wedding, yours is next, right? I said, you keep on waiting as I'm waiting on God to because I need you need to create those boundaries, those not boundaries, those walls around certain things, so that you would take the right steps. I've said it not countless times on this show that relationship is a delicate matter.
Mm.
So when you're getting into a relationship, you have to cover yourself well, be fit, be it's like you're going to a war zone or you're
Mm.
going to a farm. You need to be prepared. Yeah. So and people say that you can never be totally prepared, but to an extent you should be prepared mentally. At least mentally, that you're ready for this marriage. Because if you don't, or it just ends up
Well, you see, really, the issue of relationship, like I said earlier on, it is supposed to draw you closer to God. It's supposed to see to your growth. A lot of people in relationship, they are pained. There are people that are married, but when you look at them, you can see that, oh, this person was better when he was single than now that he's married. Why? Because there are certain factors that the person didn't put in place before saying yes. I was listening to a preacher on a Sandford day preaching, and he said, just before you say I do. And I was wondering to myself, like, about this message. But there are factors you need to put in place before you say yes. Most times for relationship, we just casually answer, oh, I would like you to be my girlfriend, I would like you to be my babe, I would like you, whatever language you choose. And you just quickly say, okay, let's give it a trial. Like, is that easy? You just want to, relationship is something you want to give trial. Like, we're talking about accommodating another person, and you say, oh, let's give it a trial. You start dating, and just within 1, 2, 3, 4 months, you see that you've made a lot of mistakes that you're now thinking back, and how did I get here? You see so many young people in tears, crying, regretting their actions, their decisions. Like, how did I even get involved with this person in the first place? Because you didn't consider certain factors. You're yet to even know this person. Like, think about it. I've had people give excuses, oh, love is love at first sight. So you just meet somebody and then you go into a relationship with that person only for you to discover that, oh, you guys are not compatible. This person is not even in Christ. This person does not have character. And then you're just seeing that within a very short period of time, you've done things that ordinarily as a Christian you shouldn't have done. And you're now asking yourself questions. You're now crying. You are now, oh God, I've sinned against you. And you want to take back that decision. Yes, you can, because it's not actually late. So a lot of us are quick to saying yes for fear of being alone. Like, I don't want to be tagged, oh, single. Everybody is in relationship. Every young girl is in relationship. So why am I single? You know, when it's Friday, everybody's shouting, TGIF, come on. It's time. It's weekend. Let's put our shoes. Let's put our makeup. Let's go for party. Let's go for hangout. It's weekend. The excitement that comes with it is not just about that. It's time for you to rest. But, oh, it's time you hang out, you chill, and you don't do that alone. You need somebody's son to tag along. So you just want to say, yes, how can I be single? Well, let me just keep this person pending when I see the right person. And as you are doing, let me keep this person before you find out that you have involved yourself in things that you shouldn't in the first place. So to save yourself the stress, to save yourself the breakfast, to save yourself the heartache and all of that, like Jemima rightly said, before you say I do, before you say yes, are you ready? I like the fact that Prudence talked about, are you mentally ready for this? What's the position of the man in your life? Are you ready to adhere to what God called that man in your life? He's your Lord. You should be able to submit, to respect. And are you ready to give all of that? You get married, and then after saying yes to somebody, you now go and form one group or one community on Facebook or WhatsApp and be saying, how can you subject yourself to my own human being? What's the difference between him and you? After all, you are the one, as the woman, that you are feeding the house. You bring more money to the table. Why should the man tell you should not go out? And you, when you were saying yes, you don't know that he will lord over you.
Interestingly, Paul actually addressed that. He said that you should. Okay, so as the man is the head, as Christ is the head of the church, and so the woman should submit to the head as the church submits to Christ. So like it's a two-way thing. This person should love you, and you should give him the respect and the
Prudence, you've not
degree
had
of
people
honor
say that
he
I cannot
deserves.
submit, that there's nothing like submission. You guys are co-workers, co-partners. There's yes, the equality fight and all
I think
of
that
that.
people just delude themselves.
So you need to consider so many things before you say I do. Like, look at this person before you even go and ask the lady out. Before you say yes to the guy, can I actually submit to this guy? Can I respect him? Can I position him how God placed him in my life? If you're not ready for that mentally, emotionally, don't go into it. If you're not stable as the guy, let's say you don't have any source of income. In the back then, talking about the Garden of Eden, Adam was walking before God said, you need a woman, you need a helpmeet. So he wasn't even thinking of the woman. He was just busy with the work that God gave to him. It was God that now said, it's not good for you to be alone. But in our world today, is the guy that will say, God, it's not good for me to be alone. No. There's no work. There's nothing. But you're telling God it's not good for me to be alone. And when God is saying, wait, I need you to be well prepared. I need you to be equipped. You're saying, I cannot, body no be firewood. And you just go get, like Prudence was saying, the guy said, you just look for a girl and pregnant, like as if she's just some log of wood. Just want to go and get a girl, like she's just some kind of. So you need to, there are so many things you should consider. As a Christian, is that person in Christ? Is that person in Christ?
In talking about preparing yourself, sometimes we go and awaken love when it is not time. I think that is where we get it wrong. When you're meant to be in school, you're looking for a boyfriend. When you're meant to work hard and earn a living, you're looking for a boyfriend. When you're supposed to read, when you're supposed to do something else, you're awakening love when it is not time. And so when you awaken love when it is not time, whatever is available, you get it. And you have to make do with it. But all this time that you're supposed to use to do one thing or the other that would benefit you, if you do that and work on yourself, that person will come and meet you where you are. And it will not be any kind of person that will come and meet you. Because for him to reach where you are, he would have gone through a lot of hurdles. So God will bring the very person that is perfect for you. But when you neglect what you're supposed to do and you go looking for something that is not even in existence, whatever you get while looking for it, you have to make do with it. You have to manage with it. That's why people get married, and then you find out that the person you get married to is a woman beater. He will beat you up, and you will be crying and chasing the people that are coming to help you. You say, leave him, let him beat me. It's because you went to awaken what you were not supposed to. But if you had spent all that time working on yourself, putting your hands into work, making yourself diligent and having dignity in yourself, just imagine the kind of person that will come to you. It is that person in your class, in your category. God will make sure he models somebody that is perfect for you. And then talking about pressure that Prudence talked about, do you know that some of these pressures, someone will come and say, when are we going to eat your rice? When are we going to check box? When are we going to look at rappers? They are making you feel like, I need to get married. I need to. But no, you shouldn't.
Did I eat your own rice?
You shouldn't fall for people's pressure. Once they are pressuring you like this, go to God and pray. God, help me to wait for your perfect timing for me. Because if God's perfect timing comes for you, you will be shocked. Because you will feel, I don't deserve this. He will give you the best of the best. And there's some of these pressures, we are the ones that bring it upon ourselves. You know, the lady, you go and meet the guy and say, see, I am getting old. You know, menopause. They said menopause is coming closer now. So we need to get married so that I will give birth. You are the one putting pressure on yourself. Because at this point, the guy is not even ready. He's not financially ready. He loves you, yes, but he's not ready for that. But you're the one putting pressure on it. You're bringing your family issues. See, my sister is married, my uncle is married, my auntie is...
Jemima, I know a lady that went ahead to pay.
Pressure,
like,
yes.
the guy was not ready. Just to add to what you were saying, he was not ready, and they've been in a relationship. She kept telling him that, see, age is not on her side and all of that. And the guy said, I don't have money. If we are going to your parent now, we need they will go and give me this, and I don't have. Let me get work and all of that. And she insisted that she has some savings, she can just give it to him. And then she packed all her savings. She said he should just come with his people. And they gave him this and everything. And she now decided to give him from her savings that he should go and pay everything. And he did. They got married, they were living, and eventually they had issues. So one day, while they were having argument and quarreling, fighting, and he said, after all, you're the one that married yourself.
Oh my God.
You paid your dowry.
After all, you're the one that married yourself.
That was harsh. But
No, but it's harsh, but it's the truth.
It's very true, very true, and I'm
that's
totally agreeing
insensitive.
with you.
That's insensitive, because I know the same story, but in the other side, the positive side. Yes, because she saw future in him. She believes in him. You see, we there's a thin line. There's a thin line. No.
But
No, allow him to land. Allow him to land. No, let him land. Go ahead.
You see, Hausa said, zo mu zauna, zo mu saba. You understand? And what that means is like, is when you stay with somebody that you will know the true nature of the person. And then in this relationship, I think number one, you have to define who you are. If you don't get that, forget it. Anything you get outside that, just take it. Some are willing to hear what we are saying. Some, they don't care. Because the truth of the whole matter, you can't take devil out of this. And we have to be true and be sincere to it. It starts from relationship. The devil will do everything possible, even if the two of you are coming with a genuine motive that you want to end the relationship in marriage. The devil will strike. Some people will believe me out there. Is when you decide and all of you say yes, will you marry me? And she said yes. That's when all the exes will start coming, showing that it's now that they are serious. That is when they will start calling on and on. That is when they will start sending text messages. It's either the lady will now see it and begin to feel, but you said, or the guy will say, but you said, why is this guy now calling you? All of these things, the devil is very crafty, so that now he knows that you guys have made up your mind that you want to get married, and he wants to cause confusion. At the end, some will stand. Some, because of all of these things, the whole process will be destroyed. And at the end of the day, you'll find out after the marriage, problem will set in. And then you start thinking, could it be that time there were some signs that God really wants me and I ignore, and I say I will go into this? And the marriage will now end with regret. See, like you said, when people say I want to marry a rich person, some is not rich physical cash. They know the guy is productive. If I'm a laborer and I go out, I work hard and I bring money, whatever I've been paid, and I spend with my wife and she's happy, and I'm living in one room and we are happy, me and my wife and my children, that's the purpose of God. Yes. That's the purpose of God. That's the richness. I see when we were growing, people can testify. You see one room, 5 children, they are happy. You see the mother and the father eating in one bowl. The children eating in one whatever. They have devotion together. Where is it today? There's no morality. Because the principle of God is to see the family together, living together. Because that's your paradise. It doesn't matter whether you are living in a mansion or you are living in one room. But is there purpose of God in that family? That's the question. But where we miss it is that we don't see family coming together, me getting married with the woman, seeing it as a mission of God. That's where we miss it. Because we are coming, it's just a normal life. Highest you will hear, I'm getting old, I want to marry and give birth. That's the purpose. So anything outside that, the marriage will not be productive. Imagine if that is what you are going into the marriage, and then bam, the children are not coming. It becomes a problem till the end of the marriage. You understand? So from the beginning, you have to know who you are. First, you know who you are, you know what you want. And this relationship that we are talking, there's this thing that they said, love at first time, right? At first sight. I don't believe that. Love grows. If you are thinking of bringing somebody you don't know, it grows. Because is when you engage and you begin to understand the person by communication and by understanding who the person is and who he wants to be in the future. And then you are keying into the person's dream, because this time around, you want to stay with the person. It's from there you begin to build your confidence, and you begin to talk, and you begin to give talk on certain things that will benefit you in the future. That's when you start hearing, we want to stay together, we want to have 2 kids, we want to do this, we want to build this, we want to do this. You hear the communication coming with ease. Nobody is feeling pressured because there's this understanding, there's this communication. You coming together. That means there's this maturity, there's this understanding of both of you, who you are and what you want to be. But in most cases, you find out there is someone is coming with a clear picture of what he wants to be. Somebody is feeling, no, he's been pushed so fast, he's not ready yet. And then we don't see those signs and then agree to it. And then somebody is being pressurized by age. Somebody is being pressurized not by age, but he's being pressurized by parents. Somebody is being pressurized by friends or the society. What the society gives, and you tend to take it and run with it. I think it's wrong. But yes, if you are a Christian, I think the first thing you should consider, and you see this thing, it starts from home and church. If you ask me, I would say all this counseling that they do before marriage, I would say it's just question and answer. It's not counseling. They just want to know what you guys have done during the relationship. No, I'm not concluding. I'm not saying all, because I had one-on-one with somebody. He said he didn't go through that counseling. Not just 2 weeks ago. He said he said he could have made a wrong decision in his life. He said in the counseling, after asking them certain things, they asked him something. They said, who owns the money in the house? And he was bragging. he was adjusting like I was adjusting. Like, what kind of question? At least you should know now. You ask him, I'm the one. After answering, he said he's God. He's God that owns it. He just give it in your custody. He was like, wow. That's when his eye just opened. But at that time, there's a way he was looking at the woman. But the counseling drew his mind that even the money, the woman, God is just entrusting them in him. So when you have that mindset that God is entrusting something that he wants you to really take care of it, you will do everything, everything in your capacity to make sure that you maintain that thing. I think that is what is missing.
I'm really concerned about the rate of divorce and how homes have been breaking these days, and that's because a lot of people don't put these factors into place. People just allow pressure, society, parents, peer pressure to just answer the yes. Any man that just come out, it was a comedian that was saying that at 22 the lady is saying, oh, the man has to be this and that. She has all the these. When she's getting to 30, she reduced the least. When she's at 35, she's saying, well, whether he's tall, be at 22. She said tall. Now she say maybe average height. When she's getting to 40, she almost everything is job. He doesn't have to be rich. We can start the home together. When she's 50, man, oh, man. So don't allow yourself to be pressured. It is only when you're focused that even when those pressure come, you overlook it. You know that, see, there's time for this.
It's not that they won't combo.
They will. Don't deceive yourself. People will always ask you, when will we eat the rice? Now that you're done with school, how far? This one.
Done
In fact, some
service.
people even make you feel like there's something wrong with you for not getting married. No. So do you mean that you should just answer yes to anybody because you want to satisfy the society? Somebody said, you hear people say that, don't mind her, she's not married because she's selective.
Joyce, at that moment, when people are talking like that, they are not thinking about you. Have it at the back of your mind. They are thinking about themselves, because he's saying, I want to eat your rice. The rice is not going into your stomach.
So
It's
think
his
about
stomach,
it.
so
When
he's
I
thinking
eating the
about
rice,
himself.
just the wedding day, after that you dance, you eat the rice and you go. You leave the person with forever to deal with. If the person she said yes to, or he agreed to marry, is a ritualist, is a drug addict, is an armed robber, kidnapper, you are leaving the person to deal with that. And that is why I always say this to people, especially out there, that will always pressure young people. Get married. What are you waiting for? There's nothing wrong in you advising people rightly. But can you also help us ask this question? Are you in relationship? Ask question about the person we are dating. What is his stand with Christ? What about the person's character?
Very important.
Does this person really care about you? What is his reactions to challenges, to life, to anger when you get? Can you ask some of these questions? I'm seeing a lot of people are joining the conversation right now. But see, before you say yes, don't allow pressure. Don't allow pressure to make you say yes, or to go down on your knees, put flowers to say, would you marry me? And at the end of the day, you are saying you married the devil. Like a guy said that the girl is a witch. She's a drug addict. You didn't know all of that when you were just going to. So there are things you need to wait on the Lord for before you just go. It's not a decision that you just wake up and say, Kai, this guy, I cannot hold my body. I need to just get married right now. When I hear the reasons why some people say they want to get married, it's amazing. Some people say, this independent woman is tiring. No, I need somebody that will take care of me. That's your reason for getting married. And the one that was saying that, see, my younger sister is getting married. Oh, see, my age mates are all getting married. I need to get married. I go red. Let's
And
take
then
some comments.
In getting, before you say yes, try to observe the person. I'm not saying be an investigative journalist behind the person or something, but try
If
to
not,
know.
why not?
Try to know that person. You know, if there's anything at all you need to know before you say yes, it is important you do so. Because after you get married, there's no pulling out. There's no saying, because you didn't tell me this, I am out. Or I am
Jemima
this.
is already having some fans that support it. Let's take some of these
So
comments.
it is really important that you know when the person is very excited, know when the person is very angry. Is this something you can deal with in the marriage? In this anger, is he throwing things? Is he beating you up? You will know the kind of person from the reactions. So don't just stay with somebody that is always pretending, I'm happy when you do something. No, you're doing well. Don't worry. No. Know the person's true color, so that you decide if this color I can go with it.
You know, you have experience. You tell us more. Let's take this comment. Adoma, Jeremiah said loaded, and then we have Christian saying, "You're right, my sister Jemima. You're right. Oh, thank you." We have Beatrice Goji saying, "Many is it marry a young man and a young woman quickly say yes while they don't have the necessary nutrients in them to boost it out when they are confronted with some challenges ahead in the relationship." Martha says, "Well done, my people. Keep the good work." Mizi says, "Awakening love when it's not time." Punchline, Jemima. Hey, Jemima. Oh, we have another one. Yes, issue of age. My sister, is there a certain time or age for one to get married?
Nope. Straight answer.
We also have another love sign.
No perfect.
Well, keep your comment coming, Jemima.
Okay, and then one other thing that stands out for me is communication. Before you say yes, you know that the relationship is taking a particular direction. You know that it is serious. You're not just playing around. So there are things that you need to talk about. If you don't even have an idea what to talk about, you can ask questions. Ask people that are already ahead of you. What do you think I need to talk about in this relationship? It is getting serious, and I think this is where it will lead to. Ask questions that has to do with finances in marriage. How do we handle finances in marriage? Roles, gender roles, work in the house. How do we do it? How do we settle disputes among ourselves, amongst children, because eventually we would have children in the long run. How do we settle this kind of things? So at the end of the day, you don't have parents. They are one, but you are now having two parents. This one thinks this way, this one thinks that way. You are disciplining a child, this one is saying no. And then at that point, you're not having grievances against each other. The child will begin to feel, I prefer my mom to my dad. Oh no, my dad, I love him because my mom doesn't love me. You have to talk about these things before you say yes. There's a lot. It's not just about going to eateries, eating junk, just like Solomon Sample said. It's not just about that. You really need to sit down and talk about everything, whatever it is you can think of. You should be free enough with that person to talk about everything. He's not a lord over your life. He's not a master and savior. You need to talk about these things before you say yes. Even when you don't talk about it and you have said yes, you can still talk about it, at least before you get married. They set the pace for you to be able to do better and achieve more. And it reduces all these broken homes, divorce, and those things that you talked about earlier.
Yeah, I was going to, I love this angle you came from, but then I thought of something. Earlier on, I mentioned submission, and we know that a lot of people have issues with submission. And that's one thing that you need to go to a marriage with as a Christian woman. You are entering into your marriage, you know that one of the first things you are expected to do is to submit to your husband. But you see the issue of submission. What submission means to Solomon is different from what submission would mean to, say, like James. Each human being has what he perceives as submission. For somebody, if you continuously do the whole traditional submission in the African context that people see, for him, then there's going to be issues because that's not what he's comfortable with. So you need to learn and understand the person that you are going into a marriage with. That's why people will say no marriage is the same. A senior in church, an elderly lady in church, says this. She was talking about how a friend of hers came to her and said, your husband does your laundry. Wow, that's great. I love it. I just wish that my husband would do the same. Then she told her that, go back home and check what your husband does for you that you appreciate. Not just what my husband is doing, because my husband is my husband, your husband is your husband. They're not the same people. So she went back home and she observed. Then she came back, she said, if I had insisted to follow the way that your husband is doing it, I will lose my husband. Because apparently the husband takes the laundry, takes it to a laundry person to wash for them and bring it back. He does the same thing in just different ways. So that's how marriage is. So before you even go to enter a marriage, and this is from observing a number of couples, that because I've found myself living with different couples in different at different points in life, and one thing that I've noticed is that every one of them relates differently. See, from 5 families that I've met, everybody's own is unique. Everybody's relationship is different, and they are still thriving, and they are still living together, and you find that they are still happy together. So don't expect that the way things are working out for somebody else is exactly how yours is going to work out. That's one mindset you need to go to before you need to have in your head before you say yes. Because the moment you start picturing that your marriage or your relationship will be exactly as somebody else's own, then you are working towards doom. Then the issue of divorce. I've met a number of people, and before before, while we are discussing as single ladies, this lady says something like, it doesn't matter the moment he just raises his hand against me, or he does something that I really do really can't, and it doesn't look like, then we just divorce. I'm like, oh, so you are entering the marriage with the mindset of having a divorce instead of entering a marriage and expecting that it will work out? I was confused at that moment, but then I thought back again. I'm like, no, the right mindset when you're entering a marriage is that my marriage would work. And if my marriage would work, there's only one way it would work. If I go along with my marriage as God has designed it. When God said it is not right for a man to be alone, then he brought the woman to be his helpmate. First thing first, I'm entering this marriage in my head. I'm a helpmate. I'm about to help him. This man needs my help. So I should give him my whole support. And that's what I began to think. I said, we ladies, men and women, young people out there, we need to let go of that thought. Don't enter your marriage thinking of a divorce. No, it's a no-no.
You know where it starts, Prudence? That's how I am. If you're not ready to take me the way I am, you're on your own. You are not like that. Even if you are, you can change. That bad character or the bad attitude, you can actually change. But people are entitled to the bad character and the bad attitude. Anybody that cannot take me like this, you're on your own.
You knew I
don't
was
used
like
to
this
cook
before
you came.
Yeah, so what?
You say I don't cook in my house, I don't sweep, I don't do this. I cannot do this, or I cannot do this. You are not ready for marriage. You are not. And you go into a relationship. You go into a relationship and you're telling the person, me, this is how I am. That's why you've been having failed relationships.
You know, I just wanted to add that even if that's how you are and this person has accepted, okay, so regardless, she's not going to be cooking every time. Or rather, she's not going to be cooking because that's not how she is. But you know how you appreciate somebody for what the person is doing in your life. Once in a while, you wake up and just say, okay, so let me appreciate this person and go ahead and cook for this person. Even if I don't know how to do it. That's one thing. Well, you hear people saying that a husband can once in a while just go and wash the plates because he feels, oh no, let's help this lady. She's doing so awesomely great for me. It's just something about appreciating your partner. If you're not appreciative of your partner, I'm not so sure your marriage is going to go far.
And then you also need to have this understanding before saying you do that. Nothing will get easier. As it goes on, it doesn't get easier. Like you keep facing one. It's just like playing a game. You finish a particular level, you felt it was difficult, then you move to an upper one and it's harder. As you keep going, it keeps getting harder. And then you cannot compare your marriage to another person. Marriage is hard work. When you see another marriage looking greener, all rosy and all, they put in the work. But you are not putting in any work, but you're admiring another person's own. No, you have to be willing to put in the work. Every day you keep falling down and you keep standing up. Every day you keep trying. Because these are two different people that are coming together to start a life. There are so many things that you were doing from where you're coming from. There are so many things that he is doing from where he is coming from. But you're coming together now to make a perfect home. So you would face a lot of struggles, but the ability is in you willing to be open to learn. In marriage, you learn. You have to unlearn the ones you did that were not good. You learn new ones, and then you don't stop learning. And then it doesn't get easier. Today you're taking care of husband. Tomorrow a child is coming. Next tomorrow another one has come. You keep doing it. You keep working, and then you need a lot of patience. So before saying you do, before saying I do, you need to put a lot of things into consideration. Can I do this? Do I want to do this? And when you say yes, that you will do it, then you should do it. Because it will not come easy. It will come with so many forces coming together. It's like the forces don't even want the marriage to work. So if at the end of the day you allow them,
Marriage is the original plan of God.
Yes.
So how will devil sit down?
And
relax on the
interesting,
chair,
in
in
watching
fact, I
you,
find
and
it
it's
funny
working?
when people say I am settling down. There's no settling down in the marriage. Oh,
That's what I
because
said. I
there's
said when
a
you hear
lot
someone
of
said, I want to get
Says-
married
Yeah.
and settle down, then check the person. True. Check the person. That means there's something he's getting it wrong. Maybe intentionally. Maybe he don't know that he need to go and revisit why he wants to get married. Because sometimes we get married, we enter into relationship just with a wrong notion.
Yes.
You understand? And then before you know it, it's not that we want it, but because we are not well equipped with even the proper information that we're supposed to get, and then we are in. And then before you know it, there's this struggle of how can I make it work? And then nobody is there to even help you. God help you, you don't have right people around you. You understand? So you find that it's frustrating. You are thinking of going out. Even if you're saying you're going out, somebody is saying that's just the best. Just forget about this thing and just move on. But somebody is telling you, no. You see, this thing is like a building. You have to
Step
make a
by step.
foundation. Even if it's cracked, you have to know how to lay the blocks, the corner of, and then you get to the roof, the plaster, and then the finishing, and then you are saying this house is beautiful. It takes a lot.
and
It's
it's
a
really
business
it's
process.
really a beautiful thing. Oh. It's very beautiful, but after you have put in the work
Hard
and
work.
everything, look at gold. When you see a gold, everybody loves it because we're seeing the final result. But if you see the process it
went
went through before it became gold, it's not a good thing to behold. But if you're willing to put in all that matters, at the end of the day, everybody will see your marriage and love it, but they won't know the amount of work you put in. So it's really a beautiful thing.
Indeed, marriage, relationship is a beautiful thing, but effort needs to be put to make it work actually. So just look at yourself before you say I do. How is your anger? How do you react to issues? What about patience? Are you really willing? Because we're talking about you accommodating another human that is not exactly like you.
Different
means
backgrounds.
There are things that might not be aligning, so there needs to be a place for compromise. We're not saying compromising for the wrong thing, but to be able to accommodate that person. There are a lot of things that you need to work on, especially yourself, before you say yes. And then the other person, before you propose, you go down on your knees, will you marry me? Get to know that person. Spend time together, communicate, interact, ask questions, talk about real life issues. Eventually, when you get married, how would you handle this? How would you handle this? How would you talk about it? Finances, among many other things. And when you do that, I think it's going to help in the long run. Get to know your families. What are the beliefs? Because there are families that they hold on to certain beliefs, and then maybe that's not how it is in your place. So get to know that if it's something that contradicts what you stand for, I'm talking about your faith, then you know that you're not supposed to go into that. So get to know the families as well. Get to know how they see life in general. All these are actually helpful. But more importantly, I think you should build yourself. Get prepared. What I mean by building yourself is get to understand what is God's purpose for marriage. What is even the marriage? Get to know that. What's the intention? Then what is your place? What is the place of your husband? What is your place as a husband? What's the place of your wife? And then what are my roles as well? If you're a father, you know that you are the head of the home. Then you should lead your family to Christ. So how prepared? Do you really know the Christ? And then to be able to give it to your family. Then it means if you don't know him yet, you have to spend time to know him before keeping or building up a family. So I think more importantly is that we should focus on building ourselves beyond looking for who you will devour, because that's what is happening. You just go and carry somebody's daughter and you just suffer for no reason. You go and make somebody's son, somebody's son will find me. He finds you and then you make his life miserable. No, that's not God's plan. That's not God's identity. That's not what God wants out of
Don't
the
deceive
marriage.
someone by deceiving yourself.
Yes. So
Because
there's
if you
no
deceive
point.
yourself, that means you're projecting a wrong image to someone. So don't deceive someone by deceiving yourself.
Attend seminars, read books, study the scripture. Just know what God's intention is. When you do that, when it comes, and then think about it when a prepared person meets another prepared person, you're all going to bloom.
Yeah.
That's why we see some marriages and you just say, hey, these people have been together for 20
As
years,
if they
30
have been
years.
married in their former life.
You see some people marry, you
Right.
admire them, and you see some, you say, God forbid that if this is the marriage, let me be single. We see people like that. For some single people, that's their motivation. People that are married and are not happy, they will say, this one that is married,
So
how
there's
is
no
he?
need.
Why will I get married? So let's just focus on building ourselves and then trusting God for the right person. Don't take decision on behalf of God. Like I said, it was God that said, it's not good for the man to be alone. Let God bring you both together after you all are prepared, and I tell you, you will enjoy, you have a swell time.
Exactly.
Our time is fast spent, but maybe in 1 minute let's just give our final thoughts.
Marriage is a beautiful thing. When you say I do, it is really a beautiful thing. But before you say I do, what have you done to better yourself? What have you done to make God happy? You need to be ready before you say I do, so that you do better. You would win souls for Christ in your home and make him happy.
Decisions about marriage, choices about marriage should all be centered on God. If you're not centered on God, there's no way that it will work out, because you have to follow his plan for it to actually succeed. So whatever you're even doing, regardless whether it's a relationship or not, but we are talking relationship today, so especially in relationship, make sure that God takes the center stage. That's the basic.
Okay. For me, I would say be that quality that you are looking at.
If you are to marry you the way you are now, would you marry you? If you are to say yes to you the way you are now, would you say yes? Well, relationship should bring you closer to God, not closer to sin. Get yourself prepared, study the scripture, well equipped, and together we'll build godly homes that the world will see and will draw closer to Christ. Thank you for doing this with us. Until we come your way next time, you have a great day. Bye.